What's up, guys? Jared Welch, Aaron Halterman, RacingDudes.com, back for another Breeders' Cup Classic rankings. We are week 2 now of this rankings. If you've seen last week's video, we knew that Haskell would shake up some things, and it did. You're looking here on the screen here. Obviously, not a lot of change on the overall rankings. CODY'S Wish staying put at the 1 spot, West Willpower and Forte running through your top 3, but you can see there, Geaux Rocket Ride did make the new top 10 for both of us, as well as the overall. Mage stays put. He was already in there, but Mage is kind of solidified, I think, as well, with kind of being ahead of Geaux Rocket Ride in those rankings. Halterman's first off, thoughts on Geaux Rocket Ride, and what does it mean towards the overall rankings to the Breeders' Cup Classic?
Yeah, it's a big win, and obviously gets him into the mix. I mean, for you, I guess a little more than me. You've got him up at 3rd, but look, I think he made the statement that we kind of were waiting for him to make. You know, he'd been running well in smaller races. He scratched out of his big opportunity that both you and I thought was going to be his major coming out party, the Santa Anita Derby I'm talking about. He had to scratch out of it, and it set him back. Now he came back to be the horse we thought he could be. He's top 6 for me. I put him in number 6 this week. I think he certainly can move up the list, but I think he's definitely got himself in the conversation.
Yeah, and I think for me, ranking him so high, I'm kind of at this point, you know, and obviously we'll see Forte this weekend in the Jim Dandy, not official Breeders' Cup Classic winning your in, but obviously, you know, all signs point to that being the goal for him, and we'll see what he does there. If he goes and looks really good in that race, then I'll probably bump Forte ahead of Geaux Rocket Ride. But right now, I'm putting Geaux Rocket Ride as my top 3-year-old in terms of where we stand with the Breeders' Cup Classic. I thought that was a really nice win, and kind of like you said, kind of like what we were hoping we would have saw earlier this year, and it was nice to see him kind of prove that, yeah, he is a legit horse. Yeah, another couple other horses in here that are not 3-year-olds, but defunded. We will see this weekend as well in the San Diego. You have him ranked 4th overall. I've got him 6th. He is 4th overall as well in the overall ranking. So, you know, thoughts on what you think we'll see from Defunded, and what does that mean towards his run towards the Classic?
Well, I think Defunded is a horse that loves Santa Anita first and foremost, and with the Breeders' Cup being at Santa Anita, he jumps up a few notches, at least on my rankings. Coming into this, he's going to run in San Diego or at Del Mar in the San Diego. We'll see how he does. I mean, Del Mar is kind of a tricky track. He may not run all that well. We'll see, but I still think he's one of the best older horses out in California right now. And I think, you know, like I said, once he gets back to Santa Anita, that's the track he runs best at. That's why I've got him higher than what I normally would. I think if it's at Keeneland or something this year, you got him more lowers, 8, 9, 10, something like that. But with it being out in California and him having such an impact in these California races, I've got him at number 4. We'll see. Maybe he moves up a little bit if he's impressive at Del Mar this weekend.
Yeah, and, you know, Forte's not the only one running in the Jim Dandy. We've got several in there, 4 others, 5 total in the race. And so it'll be interesting to see who does win that race and where they might show up possibly in these rankings. I do want, before we close it out, I do think the one interesting one here was, you know, you and I both took the same stand of, even though we have them ranked different spots, we do have Geaux Rocket Ride ranked ahead of Mage, Mage, obviously your Kentucky Derby winner. You have him 6 and 8. I've got him 3 and 7. But in the overall rankings, Mage did get the 5 spot over Geaux Rocket Ride in the 6 spot. I thought that was interesting. You know, one overall, first place overall vote, which wasn't me, by the way, but one first place vote for Geaux Rocket Ride, but still lands behind Mage. Do you think it's just the Kentucky Derby still that, you know, Mage is the Derby winner, and he didn't disappoint himself in the Haskell by any means, so he does still stay kind of the overall body of record?
Probably, yeah. The Derby is always a big impactor on these rankings throughout the season. It just simply means more to a lot of people, so I think that's a lot of it. The big win did come at 1.25 miles, which is the same distance as the Breeders' Cup Classic. So that could be a factor into it. And then the consistency. We've seen Mage kind of all year long. We're Geaux Rocket Ride, kind of an up-and-comer. People say that. I do chuckle a little bit. I think Mage showed up about a month earlier than Geaux Rocket Ride. So I don't really think it's like Mage is some kind of seasoned veteran. But you have seen Mage in some of the bigger races where Geaux Rocket Ride, his first true major test or major race was the Haskell. So a few reasons. I mean, for me, why I put Geaux Rocket Ride ahead of Mage is I mean, they were heading ahead at the top of the stretch, and it looked like Beige had all the momentum, and Geaux Rocket Ride just kind of dusted him. So it's like, I don't really see a lot of situations where that's going to change. So I'll rank Geaux Rocket Ride ahead of him. But I mean, to me, Mage is the one that's like, he's always around, right? He's always running a good race. Kentucky Derby was exceptional. The rest of the races, I wouldn't call them exceptional, but I would still call them very good.
Yeah, to me, it was just all about, like, I do think you can never take away the Derby from him. That was a great race, unbelievable performance from him. But it definitely feels like the outlier at this point. Whereas Geaux Rocket Ride feels like, obviously a horse that has been lightly raced, he had some issues. Now it's maybe we can see him kind of have that trajectory that we think he might be heading into the Classic, and maybe has a little more upside than Mage for me personally. But lots to coming up on this list. Obviously, we'll see what Forte does, what Defunded does, what happens in some of those races this weekend, as well as our top dog, number 1, CODY'S Wish. We'll see him next week in the Whitney. Your boy, Aaron Halterman, and myself will be there watching that live to see if CODY'S Wish can get the distance in the Whitney. And obviously, it would be a huge, huge point one way or another on how we go. If he can't get them out in 8th, Halterman, then things just get weird. And if Forte, for whatever reason, doesn't win, now you're just talking Wes Willpower is number 1 by default, and maybe, Defunded by number 2 if he goes and wins a pretty easy running of the San Diego. So it could really explode, or on the flip side, CODY'S Wish could just solidify this and say it's CODY'S Wish and everybody else.
Well, the top 4 horses on the overall rankings are running this week or next week. So, when we sit here on the week after the Travers, all those horses would have run, and we'll have a good idea of where we want to rank him going forward. Because if CODY'S Wish doesn't win the Whitney, well, Wes Willpower could win the Whitney, and then he could be number 1. Forte could win the Jim Dandy by 3. He could be number 1, even Defunded. So, yeah, it's all right in front of us next 2 weeks.
All right, stay tuned for the rankings. We'll do this every week as we get closer to the Breeders' Cup Classic. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track. Summer's here, our picks are heating up. We want you to join us in the fun. Subscribe to the Racing Dudes YouTube channel right now. Click the notification bell. You don't want to miss a single one of our awesome videos. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.